You're watching Honoring the Armor podcast, hosted by Coach Nikki M.
Honoring the Armor, friends and family, we are back, continuing our series on the armor of the eldest sibling. Lydia is back to join us.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
So this is what Lydia said when we sat down, y'all. She was like, "You don't have any notes." Like it just struck her suddenly, and I was like, "I don't need any notes.
I
I'm a
know.
professional."
She got it like that now.
No, that's not really
You getting
true.
the hang of it.
I am getting the hang of it. But why I don't need notes is because Lydia talked to me one day because she was excited for this new series to come out about the armor of the eldest sibling, because I think she wanted me to be educated as someone who's the youngest sibling. And, I like to have more knowledge and understand my people better. But when I started talking to her about what one of my guests said, as they were sharing their experiences of their armor of being the oldest, she was like, "Oh, that's me. Oh my God."
That's how I feel.
So this is the only reason why I don't need notes, y'all, because we're going to dive into Lydia's aha moments and her revelations. But first, I do want to ask you, just in general, if you want to talk to us a little bit about what it means to you as the eldest sibling to feel a responsibility for your younger siblings.
I like it. I mean, I thought it was like a heavy thing to carry, but I've always been so proud to be the oldest sibling and proud to be there for my younger siblings and to be the person that they can come to if they needed help and really to be like the test kid, the one that went out there first and made the mistakes so that I can turn around and say, hey, this didn't work out for me. You might want to do it differently. So I liked it. I feel like that's probably my personality too, a little bit, that I'm a caretaker.
I don't know. I'm going to think about that part, y'all, because Lydia is caring. She is also a person who, I'm not saying this happened to me, but if you are emotionally upset in her presence, Lydia be like, "Oh, woo, woo," like that, like from over there, kind of.
Everybody doesn't like to be embraced. I give people space to feel their feels.
I'm gonna give you space to feel your feels, but I'm gonna hug you and hold you. Lydia gonna be like, "Why was she crying?" Like that's Lydia. Very caring. Okay, I mean this. You did say that you like it and you're proud of it, but you also said it's heavy. Tell me about the heavy part.
I think it's just because you know that there are, like, your life is on a stage. Like, it's the same thing with your kids and that kind of thing. Like, you just feel that responsibility to make a good choice because somebody is coming after you. Like, you can't just think about yourself. You can't just think about, you know, is this the best decision just for me? I always think, would I want my sister or my brother to do that? Would I want my sister or brother to feel that? Would I want my sister or brother? I've always thought about that. And so I think that is like an extra layer, an added layer of consideration when you're growing up and when you're trying to figure things out. And, to have almost kind of to have to like explain yourself. I know this sounds crazy, but I used to really like run through, how would I even explain that? If I'm going to make this decision, how would I explain that?
Like explain it to your younger siblings?
Yeah, if it was a dumb thing to do, if it was unsafe or if it was irresponsible, how would I explain to them that I did this thing?
That's so thoughtful and responsible.
Yeah, I cared a lot about that. And here's the gag is they don't care.
Yeah, because now I want to be clear. I'm sitting here as the youngest of three thinking, I would never think about that.
Yeah, they don't care, and they never asked. But that's what I was thinking, But they were like, "You did that."
Yeah, facts. I have a whole different perspective because of birth order, And I've never thought about how I'm going to explain anything to them about my decisions, good or ones that were successful, ones that were like, oh, I need a mulligan. It never occurred to me to ever think about explaining anything. Do you think that literally this is how you are made up? Or do you think there is like a combination of nature and nurture? So naturally, this is how I am. I thought about this growing up naturally, being the oldest, and maybe some portions of, I also had a lot of adult responsibility for them. So this is why I developed like this approach and these thought processes.
Does it make sense to say that my nature was nurtured? Like, I feel like it was in my nature to be like that. And I think that was something that, like, your parents just know you. They know they know what you can and can't do, and how you feel about things, what you are passionate about, what you really care about. And my parents knew what kind of person I was, so they gave me those responsibilities. And I think even if they hadn't, just like out in the world, I think I always find myself finding someone that I can mentor, encourage, or in the past, probably to a fault, guide, and it's not a whole lot of people. It's not like I'm like, a leader of young women or anything like that. But I always seem to have just like one person that I'm just encouraging or guiding along their path in my life at every phase of my life.
What do you think about where you are now in the phase of everybody is in their 30s and rounding towards their 40s, and still there's some degree of you that feels responsible?
Well, I think that it's hard to imagine life a different way. It's hard to even know what that feels like. Like when you were like, I never thought about what other people thought. Like I can't even contemplate what that is like, because
It's very freeing, y'all.
So lately I feel like I have felt much lighter, and I feel like once I decided and had to really be okay with putting that down, it's much easier than I thought that it was going to be. And it is freeing, and it is nice to know that. I think one of the things that I'm really learning is not to should on yourself. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should be reaching out. You should be keeping up. You should be keeping tabs. You should be. When I take all the shoulds away and I really think about what do I actually feel authentically moved to do, it's none of those things. Like I was doing all those things because it was a responsibility. But when I really think about it, I only do the things that I'm moved to do. And those are few and far between, and they're much lighter, I think, than before. And it feels good. And I just want to continue in that path, because I have room in my life and in my world for more people and for myself.
Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. When she was naming those shoulds, she named about 5 shoulds. I started to feel anxious. I should be keeping up. I should be reaching out. I was like, oh God. Like I started to just listening to you, like internalizing, like, what must that have felt like? Like I feel like that would be constant anxiety for me.
It is. And that's what I'm trying to work through, is to get to lessen my anxiety. I have a lot of anxiety, and just really trying to figure out where is that coming from. And most of it doesn't even have to exist, because nobody's asked you to do that. Nobody is, in some people's lives, maybe there is a person that says you are responsible, or that's what I am expecting of you. But nobody in my life has said that to me
Mm-hmm.
at this stage of my life. When I was younger, absolutely. And I think that that was just an expectation of the older sibling in most households.
Mm-hmm.
But at this stage of my life, nobody's asking me to do that. And so it's okay to put that down. And it has lessened the anxiety. And I didn't realize, just kind of going through and taking inventory of all the stuff on my plate, I was like, dang, I got a lot of stuff that is just here because it's just always been here,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I think that you all, eldest siblings, get shown and taught how to pick up all those pieces and to be responsible for others. But nobody, and I'm going to where you said, at this point in my life, nobody asked me to do this. I think the problem is no one teaches you all how to like roll out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you've spent decades of being told you need to look out for them. You need to do this. You need to do that. You, because you're the oldest. But nobody says, as everybody gets into their 20s and they're like, hey, this is where you need to start pulling back. Hey, this is where you need to start letting them be them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how we get to the place of we don't know how to let it go. By we, I mean them, y'all, because I'm the youngest of three. Like, y'all don't know how to let it go because that part should have been shown to you, but I think it wasn't.
Mm-mm. And I don't know that it was intended to. I think it was intended to be that way because really the way that I was always taught is that me and your mom are going to be gone and you guys have each other, so you have to look out for each other and kind of putting in place some insurances for somebody that's going to keep tabs on who's going to keep the family together once we're gone. And so I think that was in the right place, but it doesn't mean that you're responsible for the choices that they make. And I think just becoming more mature and learning about myself and learning about like the definition of words, like what does responsible mean? What and how to be a friend more than a parent, And so I am very like intentional about that with my kids and just teaching that your responsibility is to be a friend. Their choice is their choice. You can't make them do anything. You can't make them not do anything. You can choose to be supportive or unsupportive at your leisure. Your only job is to be a friend. Just don't treat them like you treat people out in the street. Don't do that, But I think that I understood why the expectation was there, but I think being responsible for is not the same as like parenting them, being responsible, maybe keeping tabs, or maybe responsible is not the right word. Maybe we need to find a different
responsible, I do align with parenting. Like it's all on you at the end of the day. Whatever they do it's on you. That's responsible for people.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's find a different word. We'll come up with a different one.
Well, my phrase as we've gone through this series is you all need to learn how to care without caretaking.
Okay.
Care. Don't caretake. Because that's how you get into the shoulds. Well, I should be doing this for them. I should be checking on that. I should be looking out for this. Because you're caretaking.
So I guess I have to figure out. I mean, that sounds like almost impossible. The one in the same.
That sounds impossible.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. No. I don't know how to do that. I have to, and then that's really why I have to just keep my distance a little bit because, honestly, like it's hard to care about what's going on and not to lean in and be like, oh, you might not want to do that, especially when you have just a different life experiences and perspectives. Like it's, to me, nearly impossible. I feel like I feel like that's caring to
caretake.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I can't even imagine what kind of person would be like, I care about what happens to you. And also that sounds like a terrible decision.
That would be me because otherwise I am caretaking, which you can't do without inserting yourself. So now I'm inserting myself. I'm caretaking. I'm becoming responsible for. I got all these levels and layers that add to anxiety. And let's go back to, you didn't even ask me to do any of this. You might have called me to tell me about the A, B, and C's of it all. I can listen, and I might even say, I don't know. You think that's what you should do? But I got to sit back and see if you think that's what you should do, because also some of us, and y'all, Lydia's included in this, some of us have to learn through experiences. And I do not want to thwart you of a learning lesson. Some of us, that's the way we learn. Some of us can learn by being told. Ooh, I can learn by being told. Some of us have to, like, you know what? This is just a life lesson you need to grow. I don't want to get in the way of that. I don't want to get in the way of people's growth.
Let me ask you this then. I'm going to ask you a question. So, would you consider me a caring friend?
Yes.
If you
were... I'm sorry. I thought that was the question.
No, would you
I'm like, yes, girl, you caring.
if you came to me about a business experience or a business question, you're growing your business, and you had all of this anxiety about it, you're just really worried about it, and you're telling me about it, and I care for you, so I'm listening, and I just say, that's tough, and that's it, and I just let you do whatever. And you make this decision, or you decide to do this
y'all
thing.
Hear the anxiety in her
because
voice?
This is crazy to me.
Already, I think she's sweat. She's like, I just let you do whatever. You already anxious. Let me tell y'all. Okay. Y'all, she's starting to get worked up just sitting here. I can't believe I didn't stop you. Listen, there is a middle, but there's a middle ground.
Okay.
Because I hear what you're saying. Like, don't sit back and be like, that's dumb, but I ain't gonna tell her. That's on one end. You're all the way on the other end, like, Nikki, don't do that. Do this, this, and this. See, that's on the other end. Ride the middle. Listen and be like, oh, first of all, I can hear how anxious you are about this. You have a lot of anxiety about this, Nikki. Here's what I heard you say you're anxious about, and maybe have you considered this? See how that's the middle? You on the other end of, I got to make sure she don't fall. See, you went all the way on the other end. Right the middle.
Okay. I'm going to work on that.
See how I heard? So you heard me out. You heard my anxiety. You acknowledged it. And you even offered me something without driving and caretaking. Ride the middle.
Okay.
I ride the middle.
I don't know that you ride the middle.
You know what, y'all? She's right in certain. Okay, so I think she's just talking about herself. When it comes to Lydia, I'd be like, nope, don't do that. This is what you should do. So yes,
and I receive that as caretaking. Like I receive, like when people see that I'm clearly getting ready to make a left and I need to make a right, I feel like the people in my life that care about me speak up and say, that's supposed to be a right, like, and they're not subtle about it. Like they're not, because we
can't be, because you are a push backer. You work yourself up into an anxious tizzy, and then you decide there's no resolution for this. I'm just going to be anxious about it and everything's terrible. And people who care about you can see, like I can see the resolution because I don't have the anxiousness about it because I'm not in it. We talk about that. Like, don't be in the storm, be in the eye of the storm where everything is like moving slow and I can analyze it and see it. But you be like, oh, I'm worked up. This is it. Nikki, this is unsolvable. No, it's not. And so so that we have to come very, I don't want to say hard, but we got to be very clear because you will push back. But you're
So
doing it
you're
out of
saying-
anxiousness. You're not doing it because you think the solution is good. You do it because you're anxious.
So the approach depends on the person.
And so, yes, and this is a yes, and also you have got to incorporate yourself as a person in the whole makeup of the situation. You're also the person you need to be gauging. And so you're not including who you are in that and all of your primary responsibilities. And should I even be caretaking? This is my household. How much caretaking should I be doing? Because you're a person in the equation.
Mm-hmm.
How much caretaking should I be doing outside of my household? Number one.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, who is that person? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I ignore your pushback because I know it's from an anxious place.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because, and once you get like worked up, you're like, this doesn't have a solution. Okay. Here it is. If you were a person who always had a negative pushback, you couldn't be reasoned with, I would absolutely care about you and never try to caretake because I don't need that anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, people who they don't really want help. They just want to either like word vomit their problems or they want to push back. They're playing devil's advocate with their own stuff.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this though? You know
Those are not a friend of mine.
but you know the people I'm talking
Yes.
about. And it's like, do you want me to help you or not? You know, so now I've got myself in a place where I'm anxious about your stuff that you don't even want to help with. I got to sit down. Okay. I lead a soft life. I got to sit down. I can't even have that kind of energy. And so, yes, you have to, I think you focus on who is the other person in the equation. You think there's one person. You're a person in the equation too. And you should be considering that as well.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. What y'all think? Caretaking
versus caring.
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all let us know in the comments what you think the difference is? And if y'all don't say I'm mean, look how she's so mean. She just care and don't caretake.
I wonder if I really want to know what people think. Do they find that do they think that is caring?
To ride the middle.
Yeah, to ride the middle. Mm-hmm.
I think it is, y'all. But according to Lydia, I don't be in the middle so much. But I think I do a really good job of acknowledging, and then I ask questions, and then I will even say, "Well, might I offer you something?" But you jump right in and go, "Oh, let me pick up your pieces."
I ask questions first. I do ask questions. I ask questions to help you see where you're at.
I think you ask questions to caretake.
Well, of course.
What can I do to solve this? Like
Absolutely. Yes, because I want to know, because sometimes there's nothing that I can do. Like if this is something that you just have to see yourself through, whatever. But I need to be very clear about, is this something that I need to have my hands in or not?
When there's nothing you can do you have a stomach ache?
No.
You don't? Okay.
Mm-mm. No, but I need it to be clear because if it's something, like if I haven't thought it through or to even know what I can do, or if I haven't, I don't know all the pieces and parts to be able to know if this is something that you just got to kind of see your way through, or then I have more questions. Like I need to make it clear. Once it's clear, it's so easy for me to just take my hands off and be like, oh, I can't help you with that. I don't know what to tell you. That's easy for me, but I did explore all of the corners and all of the angles to see if there was a place for me in that.
Okay.
But I think that I struggle when I can't see all of the pieces and parts, because maybe I can help, maybe I can't. And so, and maybe some people don't find that helpful to explore the situation thoroughly. Like some people just don't want to talk about it, or they don't want to go all the way, they don't want to unpack it. You know, this is just a mess. But sometimes if you unpack things, it's not
as big of a mess as you think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm an unpacker. Please lay it all the way out. That corner's still folded over there. Unfold that corner over there. Lay it all the way out.
Now, I want to tell y'all, she is saying this. Lydia is an unpacker of your stuff. Say it again. I'll let you go ahead and tell on yourself. But baby, if you try to unpack, she'd be like, oh, I don't know the answer to your question. I don't know, Nikki. You do.
You ask hard questions.
Because I'm trying to get to where we need to get to together. You know what I'm saying? Help me help you. You mentioned parenting. So I want to take you back to, you shared at least 2 revelations with me. But one of them was when I told you, when my sister sat here, and I learned things I'd never known about her experience of being the eldest sibling. And one of the things she said was that she had mother energy for us, specifically for me. I did not know that, y'all. And you were like, yes. Tell me about like this mother energy that you feel like you developed for your younger siblings.
Just my sister. Just my sister.
What? Y'all, them and the youngest sisters is a thing.
Well, I think because my brother and I are closer in age, and we grew up together. Like we weren't. There wasn't such a gap. There's a 7-year difference between my sister and I.
Okay.
And so my brother and I were like more like friends, you know. And I think that started to change when I really was given the responsibility of like looking after him, and he bucked that quick. Like I think he was probably 13 or 14. He was like, you ain't gonna tell me what to do. And I couldn't tell him what to do. He's bigger than me, you know. He did what he wanted to do, and I let go of that one because there was nothing that I could do. But from the time my sister came home from the hospital, that was my baby. That was my baby, and I took care of her. And I remember waking her up when she was sleeping just to make sure she was okay. I'd be in the crib. I'd wake her up to make sure she was all right. So that she's just always been my baby. And I think because we spent a lot of time together just as a sibling group, I took on that role of looking out for her. And everybody, I feel like most people know how to take care of like a little kid, like a little kid. I think it got very difficult when she started to become like middle school teenager, because I, at that time, was trying to figure out my stuff as a young 20-year-old and late teenager, and didn't really understand like development. You know, didn't understand development. I just felt like she changed. I don't know. She doesn't want to be my baby anymore. I don't know what's wrong with her, you know? So,
oh my God.
I think that's where that kind of relationship kind of broke off, because now you're not a little baby anymore. You're not a little kid. Now I have to rely more on that relationship part, and that relationship part never existed because I've always been your caregiver. I've never been a friend. We've never just played together, you know? Wow. So where did when you become a teenager and they start to develop, and I'm experiencing that with my daughter now, where she went from being like a little kid where I'm your mom, I'm telling you what to do. Now you're a teenager and I have to parent from a different position, and it's from a position of relationship. And it was a really hard turn for me. And so I think, that fractured the relationship that I have with my sister at that time. I didn't know what she needed. And what I thought that she needed was from a parent.
Like, when did you realize that as a sibling, your mother energy was misplaced? Like, I should not have had either this amount of mother energy for her or held it for this long? Like, when did that click for you?
Like last week.
Last week, y'all, when we had this conversation, where my oldest sister spoke about it. It's just like, no, last week. This is a fresh learning for Lydia. You know what? That's what's up.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was last
each one
week.
teach one.
Yeah.
My sister's journey helps you see.
Because, you know, it really is something that's praised by a lot of people. They'll say, oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. She's such a mother hen is what they say. She's such a mother
That is
hen.
not a positive phrase.
Everybody that recognizes that about siblings loves it. They love it. They say it's like about Kylie all the time. They'll be like, oh my gosh, she takes such good care of her siblings. She's such a mother hen. She's just a little mom. They love that. And that is something that I never, ever thought was a negative thing. Now, the only reason I was very adamant about teaching my daughter differently is because I wanted her to have a relationship with her siblings. Like that is why. It wasn't because I felt like what she was doing was wrong. I felt like, I'm here, you don't need to do that. And also work on building that relationship, because that's where I felt like I went wrong. Like I was like, I don't have a relationship with my siblings. So I wanted all of the kids to work together to learn how to be friends with each other. Yeah.
I think, so I've had a revelation, y'all, because hearing you say that there was interaction built upon parenting, mothering, mother energy, and there was not a transition to friendship. Like, this is such an aha moment for me, because my sister and I only have a 4-year age difference, but that still means that when I was coming of age, she had already gone off to college. And even before she went off to college, she had already moved out of the home. So there wasn't that transition from getting me off the bus, making sure that I changed my clothes, did my homework, did my chores. Dinner was this, bed, bath by this time, bed. But there wasn't that transition because she moved out and then she went away to college. And so one of the things, so that's like a big aha moment for me, hearing you say the natural, I think you called it, what did you say?
A transition.
Transition and from that whole guidance and orchestrating to friendship, that didn't really happen. And so when she said, and I repeated this to you, the trauma, which I did not know, y'all, that it was traumatic for her, that she experienced when I was coming of age and I was doing what developmentally I should do. I don't know, being independent, autonomous, create my own friendships. Like, that was traumatic for her. And you were like, yes. I was like, what? Tell me about your view of like why that was traumatic for you.
I think the proof is in the pudding. If that's not parents are experiencing this all over the world when their kids go away to college.
Or before.
That growing up part, like, that's how it feels. And it feels like that. I think it was traumatic for me because it was such a hard, I don't want this anymore. Like, and so I don't want you to look out for me. I don't want you to input your thoughts or your opinions. I don't want you to be a part of my life in this way anymore. It was like, but why? Like, why not? So I think that was a really hard thing. And I think also, it feels, I'm going to speak for myself, unappreciative, because I know that I have my mom and dad here to look out for me. When my mom and dad are no longer here, younger siblings have somebody in the world, most of them do, have that older sibling. There's somebody in the world, anywhere in the world, that cares about where you are in the world at all times. And if you were in trouble or if you were stuck somewhere, that person still has a bing to your heart. Like, they still have that connection.
We feel like that about y'all.
I don't know.
We
And so
we do, y'all.
I-
Younger siblings out there of the world. We just don't we don't have that control mechanism. We feel like that. We have a ping to your hearts. We care where you are in the world. We just don't need to control any of it.
Okay.
Facts, y'all.
Well, it was, I think that it's nice to have this kind of conversation because I don't think that in general, younger siblings can appreciate the path that was really hard beaten along the way.
She 2 seconds from I had to walk 3 miles to school. You got the bus. No, but I know I'm just like
That is how it was.
Oh,
like
Lord.
it was we had to take the unpaved path, okay, through life.
We appreciate it. We don't mean to come off unappreciative. We are, and this is why we're having these conversations so that we can understand your experiences from your shoes. We didn't know it's traumatic for you all when we started to grow up like we're supposed to do. We didn't know that. We don't mean, and I don't know if I asked my sister. We might have had that conversation if she felt like I didn't appreciate it. Or either I said I appreciate it. I did appreciate it. And I thought I was doing what I was supposed to do. Grow up. Get your own thoughts, your own, stuff. Be your own person.
I think you are. It's a both and. You are supposed to do that and also appreciate that you did it a different way.
And how you guys looked out for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Caring. See how I rode the middle without
How you doing, heart?
caring. We appreciate it. I think definitely we all just had different experiences of it, right? And so like you talked about your brother, he was like, get off me. Okay, miss me with all of that. You know what I mean? And my sister said about my brother, who's also the middle, that she didn't feel any trauma when he started to grow up. But when it was me, it was like somebody had ripped her baby, from her. And I was like, But what is the thing that you think as you sit here now at this part of your journey, at this stage of your growth, what's been the most, I think, lesson learned on this subject of that armor that you guys have as being the oldest sibling?
That the ledge is not as high as I thought. The ledge is not as high as it. Look at that. Tomorrow is still Friday.
Right.
The world is not going to come to an end if you don't have your thumb on every single movement, every single whatever is going on. The world is still turning. And I think really I learned that from my mother. And I used to just couldn't stand that she was just so, I would feel like she was so dismissive or even aloof when it came to just certain things. And my mother just, we'll see what tomorrow brings. But that is the key to getting to tomorrow. Like you have to just be okay to wait to see what tomorrow brings. And it never, ever fails. Tomorrow brings grace. It brings new opportunities. It brings new information, new insight. And so I'm trying to master that the world is not ending. Just wait till tomorrow.
I love that. Let me know how I can help you.
You can't. No.
Yes, I can, y'all. I feel like that is such a good thing for all of us, regardless of what we're trying to get better at, what we're trying to do less of, let go of. That whole the world is not going to end tomorrow. I think that's a good thing for us to know. Somebody who is going to call you after they watch this episode, and they're either going to call you and say like, I'm trying to get there, or how did you get there? What guidance would you offer them as someone who is on their road to being reformed, right? What would you offer them? Like, this is a good step in laying down that heavy armor?
I literally just putting one foot in front. The only way you can get there is to just do it. You have to just really decide. And for me, it meant disconnecting completely and giving myself space to see what happens if I cut these strings. What happens if I cut these strings? I felt like I was going to be catapulted into the abyss if I cut these strings, but I wasn't.
Like, it's the rapture. Like that.
So just give yourself some space and just see what happens. See what happens and then go from there. But once you realize that the ledge is not that high and that tomorrow is still coming, it's like, oh gosh, this is okay.
I think for my sister, and she talked about her therapy, but I also think the conversation helped her. Right? I think saying, this is how it felt for me as being the oldest. This is how I think you younger people are ungrateful, you little ingrates, right? I felt traumatized when you grew up and got your own friends. Like, she was like miffed. I think the conversation helped because I think she got to say her experience and how she felt. And she got to, I think even after all these years, decades, I think it was like such an aha moment for her to feel like, oh, okay. Sitting here, I realized that you're okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I was already okay, but I think that it was like cathartic for her. So would you suggest that somebody also, as a step, like, have the conversation with your younger siblings? Like,
only if they're going to be open and receptive to it, because I think that that's such a raw space that their perspective and their response, if you're not in a good space, can just set it back.
That's true.
That you have to be in a place where you're absolutely okay with where things are, and that gives them room to just respond however they want to respond, or to share whatever they want to share, and it's not going to rock your boat, and so it took a minute to get there. Like, I'm not all the way there.
I appreciate it. You know what? You've come so far.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again. Always a good conversation.
It really is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I love when people are like, I heard this on an episode and I just want to say, like, I get it. So when we first started this series, there were people like commenting like, wow, I didn't realize how unhealthy some of my habits are when it comes to spreading myself too thin, and nobody asked me to do that. Like, that is really, for so many people, very negatively impactful, but they don't realize it because they're too busy doing it and being in it. And hearing someone else share their story, they're like, wow, that's me. So I appreciate you so much, because I really mean it when I say each one teach one. We cannot help other people not sharing our stories and keeping these, revelations and these conversations about our growth, like, to ourselves. We don't help anybody.
No.
Look at you, Lydia.
And I'm trying to be a caretaker out here.
No.
I'm playing.
No.
I'm playing. I'm playing.
Y'all, you know what? I'm a helper. Just be right in the middle.
Okay.
So this has been another wonderful episode of Honoring the Armor. Please, please, please remember to share, like, and subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And like Lydia said, she wants to know what you all think. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Honoring the Armor podcast. We're releasing new episodes every other week. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Like and subscribe so you don't miss out.